What if I told you that you can transform your life with just asking yourself different questions? In today's sleep-deprived, overworked, taken for granted, stressed out society, we could all use small but significant ways to make our lives feel a little easier, a little lighter and happier. And that's why you're here, isn't it? For all the great tips with no barrier to entry that will help you design a lifestyle worth living. That's what I've been working on for the last 20 years. And let me tell you, I am very excited to share with you 10 positivity questions to transform your life. But first, as usual, a story and then some research. One day I'm playing in the yard with my then 18-month-old son, and I think that he may have put some mulch in his mouth. And so I completely freak out because I remember that when I was about 5, my parents had to put down a dog for eating mulch. So I'm like, James, open up your mouth. I gotta see what's in there. And he goes, mm-mm. And I'm like, Mommy really needs to see what's in your mouth. Please open up. And he goes, mm-mm. And I'm like, baby, please open up your mouth. Mom has to see what's in there. And he goes, mm-mm. And I tell myself, okay, MJ, the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Come up with something different. James, where's your tongue? And there he goes. Success. I got what I needed. Whether you're dealing with toddlers, clients, your spouse, or your own conscious mind, when you change the questions that you ask, you change the responses you get. When I found a question that made James proud of his knowledge instead of guilty of what he may have done, he collaborated immediately. What about you? What kind of questions do you ask yourself on a day-to-day basis? And what kind of collaboration do you get from your own mind in return? If you're like most, you probably spend a lot of time each day wondering about, was I wrong? Did I overreact? Why does this always happen to me? Am I good enough? Am I good at all? Am I enough? To be sure, sometimes a little reality check serves us well. After all, nobody is always right and blameless, especially since we're often running on low fuel. But because of that darn negativity bias that we all have evolved with, we tend to think about negative events and experiences, and we experience those negative emotions more powerfully than positive ones. And that's really not helpful, because research shows us that positive emotions help us be more creative and innovative, better problem solvers. They boost our immune function and they make us more fun to be around. I'm sure you already know that. And so they improve our relationships. And if you've watched my last episode, you probably know that positive emotions also make us more apt at adopting healthier habits in our sleep, food, and exercise categories. All things that we could use a little bit more of, wouldn't you agree? So to rebalance our thinking in favor of positive emotions, we need to start asking ourselves positivity questions. I'm sure you've heard of the old positive psychology classic on gratitude. This research has been replicated multiple times, and so it is shared over and over again. But in case you want a little catch up, participants are asked to find 3 things to be grateful for each day. And if you've ever tried this exercise yourself, you've probably discovered that over time, as your gratitude muscles become stronger, you become appreciative of more and less obvious things than you did at first, like the bright smile that you get from that colleague when you walk into your building in the morning, or the fact that you haven't needed to wear heels on the regular since the pandemic. Good things that we may take for granted. And as we train our brains for more gratitude, we become happier, and thanks to the new circuitry that we've developed, that lift remains even if we don't practice the exercise consciously anymore. But the problem is that in some replications of this intervention, some participants felt that constantly being on the lookout for things to be grateful for starts to feel forced after a while, and so that negates the benefits of the exercise. So let's switch it up. I'd like to propose a variation to this old classic with new positivity questions that we can ask ourselves to lift our mood and feel empowered. Let's get started with 3 powerful questions that come from my friend Jen Epps. Jennifer is a transformational health coach focusing on healthy mind, body, and finances. And I've been astounded to see how many of her coaching clients have lost a ton of weight, both physically and emotionally. And so in preparation of this episode, I reached out to her because I wanted to hear the goodies. I asked Jen, what are your top coaching questions? And here's what she said. Who are you currently becoming? how does this align with the best possible expression of who you are, and what can you do today to get 1% closer to who you want to be? Pure gold, Jen! I'm so glad I reached out because we all need those questions in our daily lives. Because each and every day, through each and every step, each and every intention, opinion, decision, and interaction, we are creating our identity. So we need to make it good. By the way, you can click in the description below to find all of Jen's information and also to find a PDF with the 10 positivity questions laid out for you, because let's admit it, 10 questions in 10 minutes, that's a lot to digest, and I want to help you guys use them to really transform your life. Okay, so back to the rest of our questions. In support of the deeper thoughts that Jen has brought us, here are a few additional positivity questions that can lift your mood on a day-to-day basis. When was I most engaged today? Think about that. When were you most engaged today? Feeling your own engagement can give you important clues about where your energy is flowing or not, and it's helpful to create that awareness. What are you proud of today? Sometimes we feel good about our day, and reminiscing in the good vibes does the body good. Other days are not so great. And instead of dwelling on all the hard parts, we can be proud of how we've handled ourselves through the challenges. And that supports us becoming more of who we want to be. What am I learning right now? That's another great question for those harder days when we need to turn our attention towards what is working rather than staying stuck on what isn't. With whom did you connect, or who supported you today? In a world that's always on the run, it's easy to take others for granted. And yet, relationships are the #1 most important contributor to long-lasting health and happiness. Now that's a whole other topic on its own, and please subscribe if you want to hear about it, because this is on my list of future episodes. But for right now, connecting and noticing the support that we get from others are good antidotes to loneliness and to feeling insignificant. What was the best part of your day? If you know what tends to be the highlight of your day, you know how to do more of it, and that is also valuable information. And last but not least, what makes your heart sing? Now that one may be harder to answer. For a lot of people, you may be thinking, no clue. Well, in that case, think about what used to make your heart sing when you were a kid. You may not have time to keep up with your former competitive figure skating ambitions anymore, nor do you want that at all, I bet. But you can probably skip a movie night here or there so that you can go find a spot to glide on the ice to reinvigorate a former passion and keep becoming an interesting and fulfilled individual. And my friends, despite all of our best effort, some days will suck. Some days we will move away from what we really want to become. And when that happens, we probably need a moment to process. But if the processing turns into ruminating, then we have to realize that in that moment, our mood is our weak spot. And so working on it directly is likely to fail. Check out this video to understand why allowing ourselves a workout or a nap might work a lot better. Now again, my friends, 10 questions in 10 minutes, that's a lot to process, which is why I have created this PDF, and you will find the link in the description below, reminding you of all the questions and giving you a 3-week sample of how you can best use them to transform your life. If you have a positivity question that you like to use, I'd love to read it in the comments below. And please, let's keep on lifting each other up, my friends, and see you next time.